Being all-NBA defense in 2021 is kind of like being the most manly man at a Star Wars convention.
She said pretty much, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding, Star Wars fans. Don't be offended. There are some good defenders in the NBA this year. What's really crazy is that no Knicks or Lakers make my all-defense selections despite having amazing team defense. This video will reveal both my first and second all-defense teams and explains why the best team D is not rewarded. Yo, it's KC. Hit subscribe if you like this video, and if you love the video, become a member. You'll get a shout out like Danny L and someone whose screen name is Daily Life. People say they care about defense, but they don't. I mean, that's why Allen Iverson was so popular. Kobe, MJ, and LeBron, though, were champions because they played both ends of the floor. This video drops my all-defense teams for this year, but there's one thing you have to know. Unlike all-NBA, all-defense is just 2 teams, 10 guys in the whole league. You thought all-NBA was tough to pick. It is even tougher to make all-defense. So, let's start with my first team all-defense, then we'll reveal the second team before explaining the snubs. My first team center is Rudy Gobert, duh. Clearly the defensive player of the year. He's gonna win number 3. The numbers are ridiculous. The Jazz have allowed about 12 points per 100 fewer with Gobert on the floor. That is the best in the league and better than either of his 2 previous defensive player of the years. The real plus-minus chart almost looks like a joke. He is first in the NBA, almost by double the second best player, Clint Capella. Beyond the stats, Rudy has to be a hero on defense since the Jazz went all in on offense, and he's come through almost every time. My first team forwards start with Draymond Green. Dude took a year off, who could blame him? Everyone talked trash, but Defensive Player of the Year Draymond is back. He is leading the Dubs D like Steph runs the O, but they still need more help to actually win like back in the day. The numbers say that no forward stops guys at the rim like Draymond. Even my next first team all-defensive forward, Giannis. He is actually number 2 in that stat behind Draymond. He can switch onto any position. Yes, Giannis isn't playing like he did last year, but he is still good enough to be first team. My first team guard starts with his teammate, Jrue Holiday. He will guard every perimeter spot, guards, wings, whatever, and he's not a pushover against centers either. He has been such an upgrade over Eric Bledsoe. Jrue actually has me wondering if we are sleeping on the Bucks to not just come out of the East, but maybe win it all with the Lakers injured. My last spot here, Ben Simmons. No guard has won Defensive Player of the Year since Gary Payton in 1996, and that will continue. But Ben is my number 2 Defensive Player of the Year. Along with Joel Embiid, he is why the Sixers defense is dominant, one of the few positionless defenders in the league. But my second team leads off with Joel Embiid at center. He has been dominant, win on the floor, and still thinks he should win Defensive Player of the Year. I disagree. I mean, yeah, he's been an elite rim protector, but his advanced stats don't exactly compare to Gobert. Still, all defense, just not best in the NBA this season. My first forward, Kawhi Leonard. He deserves a spot, even at playing like 50-plus games this year. Kawhi is a beast at causing turnovers and not allowing offensive boards. It's impossible to leave off a guy that can guard basically every player in the league. Speaking of which, my other forward is Bam Adebayo. He just missed my All-NBA snubs, but the Heat had the 4th best defense when Bam is on the court. He is also one of the few positionless defenders and is one of the reasons the Nets could actually lose in the first round if they play the Heat. The other reason? Jimmy Butler, having his best season ever. The Heat allow about 6 fewer possessions per 100 with Jimmy. He just hadn't been healthy enough to make them a top 4 seed. Again, watch out in the playoffs, especially if the Nets get them in round 1. Brooklyn will have to outscore the Heat to advance, which might be impossible, but that's for my official playoff prediction video. My last second team guard is Marcus Smart. The reason Boston's defense hasn't tanked is Smart. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have both taken a step back on defense, but Smart is still an all-defensive guard. He can mark every position besides center, and I trust him in a big spot to close games. So that means my snubs are LeBron James, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Clint Capella, Jakob Poeltl, Miles Turner, Matisse Thybulle, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Jayshawn Tate, TJ McConnell, and DeJounte Murray. And don't feel bad, because again, just 10 guys in the whole league get these spots. And that's the reason most of those guys aren't on it, but some of them require a full explanation. Like Alex Caruso. He's my only Lakers snub not named LeBron James, which is crazy because they have one of the best defenses in the NBA. AD hasn't brought it this year. LeBron has missed a ton of time, but they are still elite without King James. Lou Dort continues to be the most team-friendly contract in the league with how he brings it on both ends, but especially defense. Miles Turner has only played 47 games and he's injured the rest of the year, but he was amazing. His advanced stats are dominant. I would have a hard time keeping him off if he played another 10 to 15 games. Matisse Thybulle might have the same defensive talent as his teammate Ben Simmons. He's got over a block and almost 2 steals in 20 minutes a night, but that's the problem. Matisse is so bad on offense, Doc Rivers doesn't trust him on that end, and he plays him limited minutes. How good would other players on this list be if they didn't need to spend any energy on offense? I just can't reward Matisse until he has that same responsibility and minutes that other guys do. Gotta explain Clint Capella. He has been dominant, exactly what the Hawks needed on defense for years, by the way. I've been known to talk trash on Trae Young a little bit, but Capella makes up a lot for his mistakes. Capella has career highs in defensive boards and blocks this season, and it kills me not to put him on all defense. I love how he has switched his mindset from offense in Houston to defense. This honor would reward that commitment, but he is just edged out by Embiid. And no, the Knicks have 0 all-defensive players despite having a top 5 defense. I have been really impressed by RJ Barrett and Julius Randle's play on that end, but even more impressed with Tom Thibodeau. That is why he is my NBA Coach of the Year. The Knicks immediately took his personality and became a great defense without any elite defensive players. Who does that? Probably Tibbs and Greg Popovich, but that's the entire list. And if you missed my All-NBA teams, I have got the full teams right here, but then the guards required their own video because they were almost impossible to choose.